So yeah guys, hello, assalamu alaikum, and I welcome you all in the class, and I hope you all can see me and hear me clearly. So yep, this is Shayan Baloch, your instructor, the old guy. Alright, so as I was saying that we're today going to be starting with the sentence structures with the grammatical lesson, alright? And without further ado, let me share my screen with you. And after sharing my screen with you, we're just going to look into the Microsoft Word. And just for a quick understanding, quick 101 IELTS sentence structures. But this is some kind of, let's say, a general grammar, all right? We're gonna start our lecture with the help of the general grammar, all right? Not something specific, okay? But learning sentence structures is not going to only help you to improve your scores, your bands in the IELTS writing part, but however, this is also going to improve your scores in the speaking part as well. Because in the speaking parts as well, this much grammar matters a lot. So as I have been always saying this thing that in the grammar part of the IELTS speaking exam, there are a couple of things that I really need to tell you, that I really need to show you. So so regarding to that explanation, regarding to that grammar, that will be covered today as well. So you just need to understand peacefully that what these things are, and then how you can use them in order to achieve a good band score, right? So the first things first that we're going to be targeting here is going to be the sentence structure. So yeah, let me just keep it to the full screen, my writing tab. Okay, so first thing is going to be regarding to our sentence structure. Sentence structures, alright? So after running the sentence structures, so what are we seeing here? The first thing. Now there are 4 different sentence structures, alright? So whenever we think about sentence structures, what is the first thing that comes in your mind? Any one of you, maybe if you want to participate, because interaction like this is very important that you guys also speak. Because if I'm going to be only speaking, so I really don't want you guys to just go to sleep. So yeah, anyone, any idea that what are sentence structures?
Okay, so with sentence structures, what comes into my head, we are going to be looking at the beginning phrases, the punctuality, and the ending of the sentences.
Okay, all right. That was a good try. That was a good try. So yeah, as I tell you this thing, guys, that there is no right, there is no wrong answer. Whenever I'm asking you, I just want to see that where do you guys stand? What do you guys understand? Even if you guys do understand my language or not. Okay, all right.
Hello, do you hear me now?
Yeah, Anita, I can hear you now, Anita. Good, good. Go on, go on.
Okay, so I was saying what comes to my mind when someone mentions of a sentence structure
Uh huh.
is how we are going to put this sentence in order using the different pronouns, nouns as they're supposed to be used, proverbs as they're supposed to be used. What are we using in tenses? Is it past tense, present continuous, or future tense? That's what comes to my mind.
Very good, very good, very good. Okay, I'm really impressed to hear this thing that you guys, all of you, do have an idea that what are the different things that comes to your mind whenever we talk about sentence structures. All right. Now, first, it's really important to understand that why. Why do we even need to understand this particular grammatical exercise or this particular topic? Is because that in the IELTS exam, in the speaking and in the writing part, they encourage you, they push you to use as different sentence structures as possible. Because now, when I'm going to give you an example, then you guys will understand that what Cheyenne is talking about and what are actually sentence structures and what are different types of sentence structures. What are the different types here? All right. So, in general, we have 4 different sentence structures. All right, 4 different SS. I'm just going to write SS for our understanding. All right. So number 1 is our simple sentence structure. Number 2 is going to be the compound sentence structure. Number 3 is going to be a complex sentence structure. Number 4, the last one, is going to be our compound complex, or I could just start write compound complex sentence structure, right? So basically these are the 4 different names that we need to remember simple sentence structures, compound sentence structures, complex sentence structures, and compound complex sentence structures, right? Now, before we go any further, there is again a really basic thing that we really need to understand. So the basic thing that I was actually talking about was the difference between a clause and a phrase. So yes, continuing to our lecture. Now check this out. A clause. A group of words that contains a subject and a verb. Okay? For example, independent clause makes sense on its own as a sentence. I went to school. Okay? Now, what does a dependent does? A dependent doesn't make any sense on its own. Although I wasn't feeling well, or although I doesn't, like, these things don't make any sense. Now, for example, let's look at the phrase. A phrase, a group of words without a subject and a verb component. Now, look here, there is a little bit confusion. There are some phrases which has a subject and a verb, but even though they do not stand out alone as a independent sentence, even though they don't have any independent meanings, all right, they usually have a confusion part in them, so we won't call them as independent sentences. Now, for example, check this out. Now, there are different type of phrases. There's a noun phrase, there's a verb phrase, there's an adjective phrase, there's an adverb phrase, there's a prepositional phrase. Now, for example, here, noun phrase, best friend. Verb phrase, was working. Adjective phrase, very pretty. Adverb phrase, really slow. Prepositional phrase, in the bin. Okay, so the basic understanding from where this thing is going to be clear to you. Okay, so now our dear friend Mr. Walter also had a question that he didn't quite get the last one, the compound complex, but no problem. I'm just going to go through the sentence structures from the very basic with the definition and as well as with the examples, all right? So check this out. Now we have 4 different sentence structures, all right? Now the first one is the simple sentence structure, okay? If you can see here on your screens, let me just open my pen for annotation. So here we're reading from here, okay? So a simple sentence structure consists of one or more independent, consists of one independent clause. An independent clause contains a subject and a verb and expresses a complete thought. And expresses a complete thought, a complete idea. Okay, now if you guys can see here, let me just point this thing out to you. If you guys can see here, all these things here written, they are your formula. Okay, they are your formulas, right? Independent clause, only one independent clause will make what? A simple sentence. All right, this is your formula. For example, I like coffee. Here, I is subject, like the verb, coffee the object. It doesn't matter if I count the coffee or not, all right? Doesn't matter. Okay? So now, Mary likes tea. Mary likes tea. Subject and the verb. Likes tea. The earth goes round the sun. Mary did not go to the party. Having the complete meaning. Anyone can read this and can understand that what they're talking about, right? Now, talking about the compound sentence structure, all right? Talking about the compound sentence structure. A compound sentence structure is 2 or more independent clauses joined by a conjunction or semicolon. Each of these clauses could form a sentence alone. Now here you go. Here is the formula for this one. One independent clause, which is joined by a coordinating conjunction, and then a independent clause in the end. For example, here are a couple of examples for us. I like coffee and Mary likes tea. I like coffee and Mary likes tea. Now, for example, now wait a second here, Walter. This will be the answer of your question as well. However, don't worry, we're just going to come to the last part as well. If you focus here, independent clause plus coordinating conjunction plus independent clause. I like coffee. If I say to you, Walter, all of a sudden, hey, Walter, I like coffee, man. So you will say that, oh yeah, Mr. Chan, I do understand you like coffee, right? Maybe you're a coffee lover. And then, all of a sudden, I say that, yeah, Mary likes coffee. You will say, all right, yeah, it's understandable. She likes coffee as well. Both are independently. Now, if I say both of them independently, they do have their independent meaning, okay? Even if I don't need to join them by using a coordinating conjunction here in the case which is and, which is given right here. Second example, Mary went to work, but John went to the party. John went to the party. Mary went to the work. I can use them vice versa, or I can use them any one of them. in any example anywhere. These are very, very easy things, but just want to make sure that your idea is clear regarding to the sentence structures, because in the IELTS speaking, and as well as in the IELTS writing, the complex and the compound complex sentences are more encouraged and preferred by the examiners, by the grade givers, that you should use them more often in order to get a very good and better score. Right now, for example, let's move further. All right. Now, compound sentence structure. So you see, guys, here the formula is also given. Now let's read out the complex sentence structure. A complex sentence consists of an independent clause plus a dependent clause. A dependent clause starts with a subordinating conjunction or a relative pronoun and contains a subject and a verb, but does not expresses a complete thought. Now, before it was telling us that in a dependent sentence, or in a dependent phrase, independent sentence, it's not important there should be a subject and verb. But here it's saying that yeah, it could be subject there. The subject and a verb can prevail, but it does not expresses a complete thought. Okay, the thing's the same. It's the same thing. But this is really important for all of you to understand here, guys, that this is the formula. If you remember this formula, if you keep this formula remembered in your mind, then it will be easier for you to make more complex sentence structures in order to get better scores. Okay, now going further, for example, we missed our plane because a subordinating conjunction, we were late. We were late. Our dog barks when she hears a noise. He left in a hurry when he got on phone call. So here we had after he got on phone call. Do you know the man who is talking to Mary? So these are some examples of the complex sentence structures. Okay. Now moving a little bit more further. So here they're giving you example. Here are some common subordinating conjunctions. Here are the 5 basic relative pronouns. Here are your relative pronouns, and here are your subordinating conjunctions. Further examples which are given here. So now a compound complex sentence structure. What is a compound complex sentence structure? A compound complex sentence consists of at least 2 independent clauses and 1 or more dependent clauses. All right, at least two independent clauses. All right, or 1 or more dependent clauses. Now, you might let's say have this question that Sir Shayan, is it really important that this is a concrete, let's say, sequence of putting down the things in this way exactly as they're mentioned in the formula? So no need, it's totally not necessary. But yes, a dependent clause should always start with a subordinating conjunctions. Now this is important, but your independent clause could be here, there, or anywhere, somewhere, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, here are some of the examples. John didn't come because he was ill. So Mary was not happy. So is coordinating conjunction. Mary was not happy. He left in a hurry after he got a phone call. But again, coordinating conjunction, he came back 5 minutes later. An independent clause. So that was the example for the compound complex sentence structure. So Mr. Walter, is that clear to you now, and all the other students?
Yes, that's clear, Mr. Shayan.
That's clear to all of you. Okay, good.